Here's the question of all questions. Are we truly alone in the universe? A report on UFOs set to be released this month by the Department of Defense has many asking that same question. A recent New York Times story citing anonymous senior officials may give some clues as to what could be in this Pentagon report. And after reviewing more than 100 reported sightings of UAPs, which means unidentified aerial phenomena, government officials were reportedly less than definitive on the origins of aircraft, even bringing up new technologies by foreign governments as possible explanations. Joining us to discuss the UFO report and its implications are Mark Roediger, President and Scientific Director of the Center for UFO Studies. That's a local nonprofit research group that maintains electronic databases on UFO sightings and conducts research. And local astronomer and space exploration enthusiast, Mark Hammergren. Mark, welcome here to Chicago tonight. So starting with Mark R., what do we know about this Pentagon report that has so many folks on the edge of their seat?
Well, what we think we know comes from a story in the New York Times because the report hasn't been released yet. And I think if the story is accurate, what we know is that the report is going to be what I consider to be really a first attempt at collecting and collating the data about what the government knows and what data it has on hand about UFOs. I don't think it's going to be definitive, and it's not going to say that UFOs are aliens, or that they're only Chinese or Russian technology, or what.
And Mark Hammergren, is it fair to say the conclusion here is going to be something like, there's no evidence to conclude that it's aliens, but we can't 100% rule it out yet?
Yeah, so the one thing that we can say from the reports so far about the upcoming report is that they do not exclude the possibility of it being an extraterrestrial intelligence or intelligences behind this. But also that they, however, can eliminate most U.S. technological aircraft, that kind of thing. So these seem to be unknown.
Mark Roediger, you mentioned the possibility of some kind of aircraft from countries like Russia or China, some kind of test aircraft. Is that a likely explanation for at least some of these sightings?
Well, personally, the sightings that have gotten the most attention, the 3 videos that were released and then confirmed by the government to be authentic, it doesn't seem likely that those could be. Other sightings of the 120 certainly could be, because they have displayed, characteristics that are not mind-boggling, but concerning because they've been monitoring our aircraft, mostly the Navy. You'll note that where's the Air Force in all of this? And the answer is they've been absent in all this data.
And Mark Hammergren, Mark Roediger brought up some of the sightings. I mean, there was a 2004 sighting by Navy pilots. There have been other sightings out there by some government agencies. The 2004 one was called the Tic Tac incident. What's peculiar about this?
Well, first of all, I think what we have to do is we have to look at the sightings, the sighting reports, and consider the ones that are anecdotal reports by viewers, okay, so by the pilots themselves. These are verbal reports, visual reports. And then we have the videos that in some cases help corroborate one of the sightings, maybe or not, but these are not necessarily connected together. So often, though, the reporting just kind of connects them together. So it seems like the stories are backed up by videos. And I've looked at the 3 videos that were released a few years ago. Hopefully there'll be many more. But the ones that were released, the objects that we see really do not display anything terribly unusual. They move in smooth motions, not jerking around. And from the detectors being used, they could easily be just glares from jet engines in the infrared cameras.
And Mark Roediger, we mentioned that the New York Times, got this report leaked. It's going to be made public later this month, although there is going to be a part of it that's still classified. Are there any other big surprises or bombshells that you expect to discover?
I wish there was, and perhaps I won't call it a bombshell, but what I would hope is that the report would conclude that serious research should continue and, in fact, be increased on the subject. I'm not even sure what serious research is going on right now. So no announcement about something that would be concerning, but certainly a commitment to continuing and letting the scientific community in particular, not just the military, have access to data and have the funds to do the right types of research.
Mark Hammergren, the big, broad, philosophical, scientific question here, what are the odds of intelligent life, and intelligent life that has the capacity to somehow travel millions of light years here to visit us?
You know, it's impossible to say, really, because we won't know until we start detecting life out there outside of Earth. And then there's the big unknown, too. Beyond that is, can they travel between the stars in any kind of, relatively rapid manner, something that doesn't take generations and generations? And we don't know any of that, so we can't really set a probability other than we don't have that hard physical evidence yet. So it can't be so commonplace that we see them landing around us every day in our backyards.
And for some of those sci-fi fans that hope this report provides that evidence, it looks like they might be disappointed. Mark Roediger, you mentioned that you want more serious research done here. You want collaboration. You lead a nonprofit that is doing this kind of research. So what kinds of things are you looking at, and what have you discovered?
Well, I'll tell you about a project that would really be fascinating, and that is that UFOs are reported sometimes at night, and they're quite bright. Satellites look down at the Earth continuously, at least many satellites, including commercial ones, let alone military satellites. I'd like to see a project that used let's say, well-investigated sightings that we could locate precisely in time and space, and use satellite technology to try to look exactly at that time and space and see what we can learn. So I've got a million of them, but that's one project that I think would potentially pay great dividends.
Mark Hammergren, only a few seconds here, but what kind of research would you like to see?
Well, I would like to find something using modern technology that gives us really sharp, detailed images of whatever these are, so we can say that's clearly a jet, that's a bird in the background, so we can eliminate all of the just endless, in some cases, nonsense that goes on around some of these sightings.
Speculation, conspiracy theories. I suspect that they will continue. Our thanks to Mark Roediger and Mark Hammergren for joining us. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.